The Promised Neverland teaches true humility. To start, we gotta go back to the beginning. I recently watched The Promised Neverland for the first time, and I would have to say that it took me by storm. A lot of anime change up on the stories compared to that of the manga. This one definitely did change a lot of the story. Even so, I enjoyed this series to the fullest extent. It follows Emma, Norma, and Ray, these orphans, these three gifted, smart orphans that live on a foster home. And they are around all of their siblings and eventually find out that their home is essentially a farm for raising human children to be eaten by demons. And to demons, the human children that are around the age of 12 are the best variety of humans to feast on. And this story setting sets in the realm of the demons. When Norman and Emma find out that one of their siblings had been feasted on by a demon, their ideas change to let's try and escape because this world is out to kill us, essentially. And eventually they have to try and outsmart Isabella, being the mother that is taking care of all the kids in the orphanage, which Isabella in her own right is a character that I really did dislike in the beginning, but throughout the story I started to love her character a lot more. As soon as the kids escape from the orphanage by doing the zip line essentially over the wall, they are greeted to this world that they are unfamiliar with, and eventually Norman is shipped out and we don't see him for a large portion of the anime series. Norman's story is such a whirl fest because he, out of the three, probably to me is the smartest out of the group, so seeing him go so soon, I thought he had died. When Emma and Ray reach a shelter that was built by Minerva, and from them reading the books of the past, they hide in the shelter, get to feast on food, and actually live life normally. But eventually the demons that are trying to track these children now find them, and they have to make a move and eventually have to blend in with the demons in their own villages, which eventually they are found out and are almost killed by civilian demons until Norman comes in and makes his grand return. And you come to find out that Norman had been tested on at a test facility along with other orphans that had been raised in these other farms, which there are a couple of farms in the Promised Neverland. And eventually, prior to that, the kids with Emma and Ray eventually meet these heathens called Mujika and Sonju, which begin to make them understand that demons aren't all evil. This is the first small example of their humility towards any living thing. They realize that these two demons helped save them when they were almost eaten by wild demons. We eventually find out that Mujika does indeed have the blood to make them more intelligent, to be more human-like. And eventually, once Emma and Ray get to the shelter, they eventually depart from them. You don't see them for a while until Norman makes the decision, since he's been separated from Ray and Emma, that him alongside the orphans that were tested with Norman should kill all demons no matter what, which Emma is fully in disagreement with. So they eventually find Mujika and Sonju again in agreement to bring them back to Norman. Norman almost kills a full village by mutating them with a toxin he had got from a test facility that he was tested at. Emma tells Norman, hey, you gotta stop, otherwise we're gonna kill all these demons, and not all of them are bad. Some of them have family, some of them are moms, dads, daughters, sons. They should be treated as such as if they were our own. And this is where the true humility lies in The Promised Neverland. Despite anything that people say about how different the manga is, there's one thing that the anime does so beautifully. By the point you get to the ending where you get to meet Peter Rattray, you eventually meet him and find out that he had been overseeing a farm system which was built by that clan that his family is from, called the Promise, to the demons that that they get to feast on the mother's children that they are artificially inseminated. I know it's pretty weird. Not only that, I find it pretty cool that Isabella's son is in fact Ray. They meet Peter Autry. He tells the story of Minerva. Who is Minerva? Well, that's his older brother, and that's William. William was the first to understand that these kids deserved life without the fear of just being eaten by demons. And eventually Peter kills himself, and the mothers are forgiven by the children whom they once tortured. Isabella had broken Emma's leg at one point, which really made me dislike her even more, to the point where I almost hated her. When they had gotten to the gate that lies between that of the demon world and the human world, Emma, Ray, and Norman decided, hey, let's stay with Mujika and Sonju alongside the other tested orphans to help change the demon world in all of its essence, to free all of the orphans. And this is where the stories in the manga and anime change significantly. And I would like to say that the anime does it really well, and so does the manga. Despite everything, there is always going to be humility in this story. And a good example of that is Emma, Norma, and Ray staying alongside the other tested orphans to give themselves up to change the realm of the demons so they can all coexist in peace. And that's what they do. Eventually you get to see the last bit of the anime where Norman, Ray, and Emma tag alongside Mujika and Sonju, where they go on grand adventures, which I would assume is more talked about in the manga, which I honestly wish I wanted more of, but I cannot complain to the fact that they did show us what happened with the trio of kids that we had followed since the beginning. The trio do come back to the human world, and you find out that Emma had grown more attached to Mujika in the anime, and it's really pointed out, such as them having their foreheads on each other, which I found to be very cute, and I'm for that kind of story. But I know that the manga had changed significantly. They do stay behind, but it eventually comes down to the point where Emma sacrifices her own memory to save all of the orphans had been raised to be farmed, which I found to be the truest humility in this story. If we realize that we are capable of both good and evil, we should understand that the state of the world as it is today in our real life, we realize that there's so much ugliness and distraught and anger, killing. Emma points it out to Norman when he goes berserk on all of the demons, to say that the demons that once killed us are actually our friends. Norman cries to the sediment, and I think it's something good to take away from this story. Think about the choices you make in your own life. Think about how that could affect others. Think about what we could do to make this world better. How can we love each other more? How can we do small gestures for people that we don't even know about, that have crossed our path and have hurt us in the past? I am willing to say that there have been many people in my life that have hurt me in the past, but I come to say that I forgive them for all the wrongdoing they've done to me, because that is the true humility that The Promised Neverland has taught me.